Hey everybody, I'm JimClassic, and you are watching Geekin. And if you are a Star Wars fan, well, this has been a big couple of days, ever since the 14th. But first, I just want to show off my little Funko Pop. It's R5D4. I found this guy at the thrift store today. Had to pick him up. He's gonna be my little companion during this video, just because I think he's kind of neat. Anyway, like I said, big day for Star Wars fans. Let's just start off with cue the Ewok celebration music, because Kathleen Kennedy is officially leaving Lucasfilm. Yes, this is not a rumor.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
This is actually happening now after, what, 7 years of Kathleen Kennedy's out the door, she's getting fired, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, who knows? Well, obviously she might have been fired. There's always that chance that this could be a Hollywood spin and she was canned. But let's just take it at face value, and she is leaving on her own terms. Okay, for right now, until something a little bit more concrete ever comes up. But yeah, Kathleen Kennedy is out the door, and Dave Filoni is going to be one of the two presidents of Lucasfilm. He is sharing the throne, basically, with a woman named Lynwen Brennan. That's a really difficult name for me to say. Lynwen Brennan is sharing the co-presidency with Dave Filoni, the guy who's pretty much been there with George Lucas since before the Disney days. Now, the whole point of this is that Dave Filoni is the creative, on the creative side of the creative chief officer. I don't know what the word is. It's going to be in this article. We're going to read just a part of it. And Lynwen Brennan is probably going to be, signing the checks and doing, approving the budgets, and she'll be doing the business end. Dave Filoni is doing the creative end. And you know what? That's probably the best way to go about doing it, because, the creative can, as the chief creative officer, Dave Filoni now has carte blanche to do whatever he wants, in theory. With Variety magazine. Now, this was announced on January 15th, 2026, and this is by Brent Lang. Lucasfilm replacing Kathleen Kennedy with Dave Filoni and Lynwen Brennan as new Star Wars bosses, as I kind of touched upon that earlier. And here are our three Star Wars presidents: the former Kathleen Kennedy, I guess this is Lynwen Brennan, and of course Dave Filoni, the man with the cowboy hat. Kathleen Kennedy will end her 14-year run at Lucasfilm. She will be replaced by not one, but two executives when she leaves the Walt Disney Company this year. Now, this was rumored last year in 2025 by Puck News, I think that's the name of it, or Puck, someone named Puck, I don't know. But, that I think that was the rumor for last year, that it was going to happen last year, but it didn't happen last year, and it is now officially announced, yesterday. So I found that rather interesting. And, that rumor from Puck News was probably legit, and then once that got out, Disney, the execs, maybe KK herself, was like, screw this, I'm not going to give them that kind of satisfaction. I'll wait till 2026. I don't know for a fact, obviously, but I could see that happening. I mean, even if KK wasn't under such scrutiny, I could see just about any executive doing that just to spite the rumor mill. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni and President and General Manager Lynwen Brennan will both lead the company behind Star Wars and Indiana Jones as it looks to recapture its stride. Recapture its stride. I think that's code for you have to fix this mess. That could very well be code for you need to fix this. Maybe. Possibly. That's my personal opinion at the very least. Filoni's elevation had been widely expected. Yeah, that's fair enough to say. But Brennan's promotion is something of a surprise. It suggests that Disney felt the need to pair strong filmmaking force with someone with a firm sense of budgets and balance sheets. I actually said that earlier. I'm glad I'm glad you and I are on the same page here, Variety. Filoni has been named President and Chief Creative Officer, Lucasfilm, and Brennan has been named Co-President. Their task will be to find ways to keep Star Wars fresh and relevant, as well as to deal with the fan base that can be very vocal when it feels that a film or series is departing too drastically from the canon. Wow. A Variety article said that. I mean, and that's fair. That is a very fair comment to say. Unbelievable. Like, you rewind... I'm sorry, I keep looking at my microphone. I should be looking at the camera. That is unbelievable, because if you rewind the clock, 3 years ago? 4 years ago? It would be, oh, the fans are racist and sexist and toxic, oh my. The fans are racist and sexist and toxic, oh my. But no, now it's just saying... the fans can be vocal when they feel like they're not treating canon properly. That's unbelievable. That goes to show you that the times are a-changing and people are waking up. That going after your own fan base, the people who pay you, the people who throw money at you, is not that smart of an idea. Anyway. Filoni and Brennan will report to Alan Berger, co-chairman of Disney Entertainment. I don't know if that's always the case. I don't know the inner workings of Disney. I always thought KK reported directly up to Bob Iger, but, maybe she reported to this Alan Bergman guy. I don't know how that works, but okay, fair enough. Kennedy will continue to have a relationship with the company and will serve as producer of the studio's next 2 theatrical films, The Mandalorian and Grogu and Star Wars Starfighter, which will hit theaters in 2026 and 2027. She will pursue other producing projects independently. That's fine. I mean, being the CEO, that's fine. Being the producer basically means you're signing a few checks and you're promised a residual in return. That doesn't necessarily mean she's going to have any creative control or say whatsoever. But then again, who knows? I don't know what's in her contract. That's likely what's going to happen. Being producer, if I had enough millions of dollars to throw at a movie, I could be a producer, But I don't. I'm a working class stiff. In a statement, Disney CEO Bob Iger, who is also expected to leave his role this year, praised Kennedy's leadership. When we acquired Lucasfilm more than a decade ago, we knew we were bringing into the Disney family not only one of the most beloved and enduring storytelling universes ever created, but also a team of extraordinary talent led by a visionary filmmaker. Someone who had been handpicked by George Lucas himself, no less. Iger said, "We're deeply grateful for Kathleen Kennedy's leadership, her vision, and her stewardship of such an iconic studio brand." That R5D4 is laying it on pretty thick. Now, of course, there's always a chance Iger could be sincere in that statement. But I'm going to err on the side of Disney's current status and fan apathy and cancellations of projects, that I'm betting he's breathing a sigh of relief. Now, I am inputting my own opinion in here, of course, but what else is Bob Iger going to publicly say? She was the worst president she was the worst president in Disney history. She torpedoed this brand. She's terrible. He's not. He is never going to do that. Disney is never going to do that, even if it's true. She is going to get her accolades and her praise. Though I do have to say, is she leaving with... It says leaving this year, but then I heard she's already out the door, and Dave Filoni is in charge now. So this seems to be a pretty swift exit. Maybe on paper she is stepping down, but in reality she got shit canned. Who knows? But in all honesty, what else is Iger going to say publicly? He's going to praise and honor her, and then once the doors are closed and the reporters are gone, he's going to be like, "Oh my God, she's gone, thank God." Maybe, I don't know. Kennedy is a widely respected producer who worked closely with Kennedy is a widely respected producer who worked closely with Steven Spielberg for many years, but her tenure at Lucasfilm has had both highs and lows. She helped select J.J. Abrams and direct 2015 Star Wars The Force Awakens, which went on to earn more than $2 billion, successfully bringing the franchise back to its big screens. Its 2 sequels were also box office hits, as was Rogue One, a Star Wars story, a spin-off adventure. I'm surprised they referenced Rogue One and not, they just kind of shoved the 2 sequels to the side like that. I found that rather interesting. Like, we don't want to mention those 2 titles now, do we? However, 2018's Solo, an attempt to look at the early years of Han Solo himself, failed the box office and suffered from a chaotic production during which the original directors, Philip Lord and Chris Miller, were fired and replaced with Ron Howard. Keeping filmmakers employed has been a constant struggle for Kennedy, who has seen the likes of Patty Jenkins, David Benioff, and D.B. Weiss, the Taika Waititi announced Star Wars movies of their own that never materialized or were canceled because of creative differences. That's left Disney with a 7-year gap in Star Wars films, one that will be filled when The Mandalorian and Grogu opens in theaters this summer. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, a 2023 sequel to the long-running action franchise, also failed at the box office. I still haven't seen the new Indiana Jones movie, and I really have no plans on it. But, yeah, creative differences, that came up an awful lot, especially when it came to the cancellations of the various Star Wars movies. There was the Rogue Squadron movie, there was the Boba Fett movie, there was the alleged Kevin Feige movie, the Ruin Johnson trilogy, that got canceled. Sorry, I had to get that in there. I think 2 or 3 other cancellations on top of Rangers of the New Republic as well. When you cancel more projects than you announce, there's some turmoil going on behind the scenes. All right, creative differences is probably just the tip of that iceberg. Kennedy has helped Star Wars enter the world of streaming, producing hit shows such as The Mandalorian and critically acclaimed series such as Andor. And a few faltered, however. The Acolyte, for instance, was canceled after season 1. Faltered is an understatement, but okay, we're going to move on. Filoni is a longtime veteran of Lucasfilm. He was selected by George Lucas in 2005 to build Lucasfilm's animation studio and created its first series, Star Wars The Clone Wars, and Star Wars Rebels, but that was under Disney. I added that last part. But yeah, I mean, Clone Wars helped me personally appreciate the prequels. I never hated the prequels. I always thought they were a little inferior compared to the original trilogy, yes, but I never, ever hated the prequels. The Clone Wars, watching Star Wars The Clone Wars, made me like the prequels. It allowed me to see more of why Anakin turned to the dark side as quickly as he did in Revenge of the Sith. And that helped. That helped me out, personally. And, of course, seeing how the clones were people instead of just foot soldiers. And seeing all the adventures. And it expanded the universe so much more for me, personally speaking. And, a part of me was hoping that they would do that for the sequels. Make a Star Wars series that might do for the sequels as the Clone Wars did for the prequels, but I never saw one. They never produced one. But whatever. Brennan joined Industrial Light and Magic back in 1999. Oh, so, alright, she's been there longer than Filoni, or at least with ILM. Eventually becoming its president in 2009. She later became Lucasfilm's president and general manager in 2024. She led the company's business strategy and franchise and production operations and has overseen ILM's expansion. Puck first reported Filoni and Brennan's promotion. Oh, Puck. That's what I said. I said Puck earlier. Okay. And I guess that's the end of the article. Anyway, so yeah, Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down. Finally. I'm sorry. It's finally. It was long overdue. Yeah, she has an impressive resume. That is not under dispute. The finer details of that resume might be up for discussion. But, maybe she has done some good, maybe she hasn't. Maybe she was a meddling suit during Lucasfilm. Maybe she was a really great producer and just lost her edge. She lost her drive after being working for Disney. That any of that stuff could be possible. Maybe she was just a poison pill from the beginning. I don't know. We'll let the scholars and the lovely folks on Twitter discuss that. But she's gone. The queen is dead. Long live the queen. And we have Filoni and Brennan now. And like I said, Filoni is the creative guy. Brennan is going to be the financial gal. And maybe that's what needs to happen for something as Lucasfilm. Maybe having KK have the final word for Star Wars, a suit like her, maybe was just never a good idea. And if Filoni is going to have the run of the place, maybe we're going to see some major changes. And we already are starting to see some major changes, but we'll come up to that in a minute. But here's the thing, whatever your opinion of Kathleen Kennedy is, she is definitely a topic of debate among Star Wars fans, and she has been heavily criticized. She's also been heavily praised, but let's focus on the criticisms for the time being. She has been heavily criticized by sections of the Star Wars fan. I mean, I'm one of them. I've criticized her because she's the president. The buck stops with her and Bob Iger. The buck also stops with Bob Iger. He is not immune to scrutiny either. But Dave Filoni, if he's in charge, then there's no excuse. Whatever Lucasfilm's, whatever Star Wars' future success or failure is going to probably lay on Dave Filoni. And now we will know for a fact if Filoni was hindered by a meddling suit or he's just that bad at his job. Or we'll know if he's just better at his job without a meddling suit. You know what I mean? So this is Dave Filoni's big test, and I know there are people on Twitter saying that he's a company man, and all sorts of. There's a lot of people on Twitter right now who are still kind of poo-pooing on him, but no, this is his big chance. This is his big chance. He is either going to, make Star Wars a firebrand again, or he's just going to light it on fire even more. Who knows? And, this is his big test. And I am willing to give Dave Filoni this chance. Because he's now unencumbered. He is unchained. I mean, this is, if the theories are true. Kathleen Kennedy being a meddling suit is a theory. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't care what rumors you heard. I don't care what your sources say. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes any more than I do. So, this is his big shot. And I really hope he's successful. I really hope he can bang out some wins for Star Wars. Because I am a Star Wars fan. I have loved Star Wars ever since I was a kid. Look, I got my Darth Vader shirt and everything. Anyway. I love Star Wars, and I want to see it do well. I want good movies and good shows. I don't care if Rey is in the next 10 movies, as long as they're good. As long as I see Rey go through a struggle. Look, if Rey is going to call herself a Skywalker, she better lose a hand, okay? But anyway, that doesn't matter. I want to see Star Wars succeed. I'd also personally like to see Luke Skywalker redeemed a little bit from The Last Jedi, but that's a different topic. We don't have to go over that right now, but I love Star Wars, and I wish Dave Filoni the best of luck, because there is fan apathy right now. I'm a toy collector. I go to the stores. I see Star Wars stuff languishing on the shelves. Being sold at clearance. I go to Ollie's. I swear to you, there is still Rey figures from The Last Jedi on Ollie's shelves. I know other YouTube channels have talked about that, and that is not an exaggeration. I have seen it. And they are still sitting there to this day. I went to one a few weeks ago and I saw one. But that's Star Wars right now. People have walked away. Can Dave Filoni bring those people back? Can Dave Filoni recharge Star Wars? Can it bring back that energy, that positive vibe? Can Dave Filoni heal the fandom? Because there is whoever is responsible for the split in the fandom, whether it's Rian Johnson, whether it's Kathleen Kennedy, whether it's the intern on the Twitter Star Wars site who eggs people on, whatever, whoever does it or whoever is responsible, it's a nebulous entity at this point because we're all swept up in it. Can he heal the fandom? Can he make all Star Wars fans whole again? Well, I hope so. I really, honest to God, hope so. Anyway, moving on to another topic which just recently came out, and we're just going to touch upon this real quick. This is from StarWars.com. This is not a third party like Variety. This is StarWars.com. Darth Vader and other original trilogy updates are coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia Organa are also arriving on Batuu as the Star Wars themed land expands. This is by Devon Cogan, January 14th, so this is 2 days ago. Now, we're not going to read the whole thing. We're just going to read some of it. Disneyland Resort has announced exciting updates coming to Star Wars' Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, the one in LA. LA? Yes, the one in California. Beginning April 29th, 2026, Black Spire Outpost is expanding its timeline, introducing elements from the events of the original film trilogy. As a result, visitors to Batuu, the planet inside Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, may cross paths with a few familiar faces, from Darth Vader and Imperial Stormtroopers strutting through the streets to Han Solo and Chewbacca reuniting at the Millennium Falcon, all while John Williams' iconic musical themes swirl through the air. That is beautiful. That is the stuff I love to see. Now, the article goes on. So, this basically is going to be a refresh of at least part of Galaxy's Edge. Now, I've never been to Galaxy's Edge. I have wanted to go, but I don't live in Florida. I don't live in California. I don't really have the means to really just travel out there. Or I can't really afford Disneyland or Disney World, either one of them. But you know, this is great news. This is great news for me, a Star Wars fan. You know, this is what a lot of fans wanted to see from the beginning, was Darth Vader, stormtroopers, maybe a cameo of Chewbacca or R2 or Luke, and this refresh coming a day before Kathleen Kennedy's official announcement is a bit weird, is it not? I mean, I don't believe in coincidences, not really. I mean, they're both coming out of Disney, or, you know, they're both official, and the fact that they're both being announced as this refresh of Galaxy's Edge and Kathleen Kennedy's leaving of Lucasfilm at the same time within days of each other is a bit weird, because this isn't a coincidence. And this might go back to what I was saying earlier about Dave Filoni taking over and being told, fix this mess. Now, I don't know what power or influence he would have over the parks. Maybe none. But maybe someone at Disney said, we need to fix this mess. We need to bring back the core audience. Darth Vader. That's the guy. And maybe this is just a temporary thing. Maybe this is a rotation. This is what Disney should have done with that hotel ship. You know, they should have, you know, okay, if you want to do the First Order and Rey and Kylo Ren fighting, fine. But then, like, next year, it's all original trilogy. And then maybe the year after that, the prequel trilogy, you know? Like, maybe they could do these kinds of rotations. Or maybe this is phase one in phasing out the sequels. Because we're not really getting any real sequel news. Not really. And, you know, the Star Wars Starfighter is coming out with, you know, all sorts of rumors, of course, but the Daisy Ridley movie, which is allegedly supposed to be coming out, or which is allegedly being made, you know, well, every time Daisy Ridley is interviewed, she says, "Oh, they're working on this script. Oh, you know, the script isn't done yet, but it's great. I haven't heard anything on it." Like, those are all of her interviews lately. I think with Kathleen Kennedy gone, I think the Rey movie's gone too. Now, personally, I don't really care. I mean, it's Daisy Ridley is probably getting paid no matter what. She got paid, likely. You know, it's probably in her contract. But, and, you know, this is not a knock against Daisy. I'm sure Daisy is a really nice person. I've heard nothing but good things about Daisy Ridley. It's the Rey character I don't care about. And that's a lot of people. That's a lot of fans. You know, the problem is the fans have spoken. You know, these AI videos that are popping up all over YouTube now, they are mostly Star Wars, like Skywalker Tales, and this and like this Beggar's Canyon video that was just came out. That's an AI video. Lost Legends, I think it is. Star Wars Lost Legends. If I was an employee at Lucasfilm, I'd be fearing for my job right now, because if the fans are doing the work that the fans want to see and Lucasfilm isn't, I'd be worried. I would be very worried. I'd be getting my resume ready because I might be on the chopping block. And, you know, it's stuff like this. Like, I was going to do a whole video on this Beggar's Canyon video because I think it's amazing. But, you know, then the Kathleen Kennedy announcement and then the Parks thing came out. And, you know, that all kind of took precedence. But this AI video of just Luke looking for his green kyber crystal in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, it's so freaking good. It's so amazing. And, you know, we can have our debate about AI, the ethical nature of it and all that. But you can't deny the results. But you can't deny the results, you know? You really can't. And it's just I'm blown away by it. I never would have imagined this growing up as a kid. Hell, I never would have imagined this 3 years ago. You know, that's how quickly AI has just evolved into this powerhouse. I mean, it's... Again, we can debate the ethical of it. I mean, personally speaking, I think AI, if we're going to have AI, it should be cleaning the toilets and mopping the floors. It shouldn't be doing the creative stuff. But, well, it is doing the creative stuff. And it's doing it better than the people at Lucasfilm, which is freaking scary. But, anyway. Those have been my thoughts. You know, again, I do wish Dave Filoni the best of luck. I hope he does well. I want him to succeed. I want Star Wars to succeed. I want Disney to succeed. But, you know, if they're going to fail just despite, you know, a few critics or just their own egos, you know, I guess we have this. I guess we have Beggar's Canyon and AI videos to do the work, to do the entertaining for us that the brand holders will not. I don't know. Anyway, those have been my thoughts, and I would like to know what yours are. Are you celebrating about Kathleen Kennedy's departure? Or are you sad about it? You can tell me. I'm not going to judge. Do you not care? Do you think the brand is dead? I don't think Star Wars is dead. It can always come back. Wounds can heal. Evil can be redeemed. I think Star Wars can come back swinging. I think it just needs the right person with the right creativity, the right heart. You know, it can happen. I hope it happens. I got my fingers crossed. Yeah. Though in my experience, I don't believe in luck. Anyway, that's all for me. I'm JimClassic. You have been watching Geekin' It, and may the Force be with you.